With the new year right around the corner, I thought we should celebrate with some confetti. And by that I mean some food waste confetti in the form of natural color. Hi, this is Margaret Byrd and welcome to Color Quest. The past few weeks we've been looking at some very common food scraps in the way of skins and stones as a way to welcome natural color into our kitchens. Today I'd like to continue this journey and look at how we might be able to create a confetti pattern on wool yarn. And since I have some cotton macrame cord left from the lovely people of Hippie Crafter, I thought we should throw some of that in as well. So let's start chopping up some of that food waste and see if we can't celebrate the new year with a rainbow of natural color. So collecting food scraps is pretty simple if you're using these kinds of foods in your cooking. I keep a bag for avocado skins and stones as well as onion skins, and this time of year I even collect pomegranate skins. I can throw all of these into the freezer for keeping longer, and I can pull it out to put in my dye pot sometime in the future. Now, onion skins can just sit in a bag on your shelf, but the other two will begin to grow mold if you don't get them frozen. So a few weeks ago, we looked at these 3 foods to create beautiful colors in the dye pot. We dyed macrame cord and made a wonderful wall hanging. Now I'm going to go back and grab that pomegranate skin that I saved in the freezer, and I'm even going to use the exhaust skins and stones that I had and saved from that project. When I talk about exhaust, it means dye matter or dye that has been used once for dyeing and then saved for future dyes. The colors will typically be less bold, but you can continue to get natural color from exhaust dye matter for quite some time, particularly with these kinds of food scraps. So always remember, you may have more than one dye session available to you from the dye matter that you're collecting. Now, preparing your fiber for any project means washing or scouring it prior to using it, and then using a mordant. Now, there are some special circumstances that if you have a dye matter that is strong in tannin, or what's known as a substantive dye, you can use it without a mordant, and it will have some lasting power. Now, the macrame cord I have has been treated in a soy milk binder, and you can go back and watch that video where I talk about how to do that. However, the wool that I brought back from Peru has not been treated. Protein fibers tend to do a better job with natural color regardless, and then the use in this particular video of tannin-rich skins and stones, I'm not going to mordant this wool. However, if you have the time, it's always a great idea and a great practice to get in the habit of doing, and that is you can pre-treat your wool. I would choose to pre-treat my wool with alum. You could put it in a soy milk soak for binding if you want, but like I said today, we're just gonna leave it au naturel and see what happens. I can always go back and dye again if I find that I'm not happy with the results, and I'll just have more of a colorful design on the wool itself. So to make the confetti, I'm going to take my scraps and I'm going to chop them up into much tinier pieces. This is going to make it super easy to spread across the fiber itself, and then we're going to actually use it in a bundle process where we're going to be wrapping it up in another piece of fiber and simply putting it in a pot to steam. So let's start chopping. Now this is some serious repurposing. So this is the frozen pomegranate skin that I had left over from the macrame cord dyeing video. I have some onion skins that I used in last week's video on the onion skin printing. And then I have the exhaust stones and skins from the avocado that I used in the video for the macrame dyeing. So I'm going to chop these up into really tiny pieces, and we'll be using that as our confetti. All right, all that food scrap is chopped up into smaller pieces, and I have the wool and cotton macrame cord soaking. So now it's time to simply build our confetti design. You will need a piece of textile to be making your bundle for your fiber. I am going to be using a cotton napkin for that. It's actually one that I've used in the past, so it already has a partial print on it. Sometimes these experiments don't go quite as planned. So I'm going to use that as my bundling fiber, and then I will simply place the wool and macrame cord in the center of that bundle and cover it with my confetti. So let's get to it. And unlike last week's echo print that we did with the onion skins and we used a dowel, we're going to simply bundle this together on itself. There is a wonderful, very tight spiral snail shell type bundle that we can do with this, and that'll make it nice and tight for the steam bath.
I just wanted to show you that I bundled this yesterday and then I didn't have time to put it into the steam pot. And I just wanted to show you how the colors are already coming through just being wet and against the fiber. So I'm pretty excited. Let's get this into the steam now.
Oh, it just turned out so pretty. And I want to show you the piece of textile that I used to bundle it, because that also turned into a beautiful print that I can now use for something else. So check this out. And that was just from putting all those scraps down with the yarn on the inside. And I have this really beautiful piece of fiber. And guess what? Because I used the same cotton fiber, these napkins that I have, it looks amazing with the project that I did last week with the onion skin printing. So look at those two together. I mean, wow, so pretty. So definitely, if you're gonna do this project, pick a piece of fiber that you might want to reuse in something else, because wow, that's pretty stunning. So how about that wool? Now, it was pretty special wool because it was from Peru when I was studying there, and I just love the quality. It's a very natural, not highly processed, if you will, wool. And it took the color amazingly. The cotton macrame cord also took the color, but in a much more subtle way. And I think that if I were to try this again with the cotton macrame, I might use fewer food scraps on top to give more space for there to be lighter undyed portions. But the wool yarn just grabbed those colors, and some so dark and some lighter, and the combination, it also has that kind of rust feel to it. So I think the yarn turned out beautifully. And all of that, with the exception of the pomegranate skins, were the skins and stones that I had used in the previous videos, the previous two videos. So that's some super powerful dye source there. If I could put it in a dye pot, use it in a steam printing project, and then use those scraps to produce the colors that it did onto that wool fiber, amazing. And remember, that wool fiber was not treated with a mordant. So these food wastes have such an amazing amount of tannin in them, particularly these that we've looked at here. So try those out. They're great places to start with your natural dye adventure. And I kind of wish I knew how to knit, because I would love to use this wool yarn in a knitting project. So get out there, knitter friends, and try this out. Send me some pictures of some of the projects that you do with this confetti printed fiber. All right, next week, we're gonna step away from food scraps, but we are going to still use an edible dye source, and that is the lobster mushroom. I touched on that when I was at the IFFS, but I am really curious about doing it in my own dye studio. So if you're looking for some pinks and oranges, this is yet another space in which we can welcome those colors into our natural dye practices. So have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see you next Friday.